I was recently wearing my Sony WH-1000XM5 headphones on a flight, and I thought I gotta do a long-term review of these for those interested in buying them in late 2023 and 2024. Okay, so let's get one thing out of the way. Why I didn't like these new Sonys when I first reviewed them. Truth be told, it was about this new design. They weren't as comfortable as some of my other quality ANC headphones. Specifically, I didn't like the extremely limited ear cups range of motion. I mean, look at this. Look how limited this range is. This just puts some pointy pressure around your jawbones that could potentially make them not so comfortable for some folks, especially for long-term use. Otherwise, as much as I hate to admit, the fully plastic but recyclable material they've used in making them have made them really lightweight. That can help counteract the problem I just mentioned. There's still another one related to comfort that you need to know. The headband is really nice and plush, but it's in my opinion too narrow, and since I've used these for a long time, I can confidently tell you that a wider headband, even if it's not as plush as this one, would have been better for long-term comfort. When I first heard about the redesign of the new Sony headphones, I remember thinking it's a bold move. Why? Because Sony had been keeping the design of these headphones more or less the same, and they'd been just tweaking small things and adding improvements to the ANC, sound quality, and call quality. But then I realized a redesign has potentially some positive psychological effects that could help sales. I don't know exactly how many colors these come in different markets, but I've had black, and I can tell you it's the worst color. So just don't buy black. And in my opinion, the best color to buy is white. I was initially really worried about them getting dirty and stuff, but after seeing all the fingerprints and smudges on the black one, I tried the white one, and it's awesome. And if you wear them to exercise or just sweat a lot, the white color is ironically one of the easiest headphones to clean. I mean, the sweat, oil, and dust come off really easily, so go for white. I'd say in general, on paper, there are probably at least 4 groups of buyers here. The average Joe, the design and quality guy, the audiophile person, and the luxury person. When it comes to the average person, some of the common questions are they loud enough? How's the bass? What's long-term comfort like? I already talked about the comfort part, but as far as the loudness goes, these are as loud as they get, and you also wouldn't need to use an amplifier to use them when they're plugged in. The catch here is that the power still needs to be on if you want to get the whole juice out of them. And the average person usually wants a lot of bass. The Sonys are, in my opinion, a little too bassy in fact, but that only makes them great for the average ears, especially if you listen to a lot of EDMs or maybe hip hop. So that's why I think these are great for the average person, especially when you pick them up on sale. And when I say average person, I don't really mean any insult or that the average person doesn't have any taste. And in reality, we don't belong to just one group of buyers. But anyways, if you're more of a design and quality person, well, the redesign is really nice, but it has its own flaws in comfort that I already mentioned. And the fact that you can't fold these. So their case is quite huge for traveling. And I can tell you with first-hand experience that a smaller case would have been much more practical and easier to carry around. But quality-wise, we have a bit of a drop when compared to the XM4s. Even then, I haven't had any issues with the headphones after such a long time using them. No cracks, no squeaky noises, and in fact, they're in perfect condition. Now, granted, I haven't worked out with these, and probably neither should you, since these aren't IP rated, which means they aren't water or sweat resistant. So what I'm saying is that depending on how you use them, you can definitely beat them up, but mine are almost like day one. Which means, as someone who cares a great deal about design and quality, despite these not being on the top of the list, I'd recommend them. Now, a common question between any of these groups would be the ANC quality. These are ANC headphones after all. And the thought of creating a long-term review of these headphones came to me while I was traveling with these, and I used the ANC a lot during the flight, and I noticed something interesting. I've heard before that these completely isolate in-flight low-end noise, but that wasn't the case. They significantly reduce the noise and make things quieter, but to my surprise, the 1000XM5s can cancel out some of the higher frequencies too. I'm talking about human voice frequencies. That alone was a great experience, although after a long-term noise cancellation, there was some fatiguing. They also have a feature called adaptive sound control, which allows the headphones to automatically change the ambient noise pass-through levels, but I've noticed a stronger noise cancellation for my taste when I disable it. So that's how I use them these days, with no adaptive sound control turned on. Now, suffice it to say that these aren't for the luxury person, nor are they for the audiophile guy. But does that mean the sound quality is bad? Absolutely not. In fact, if the bass was just a little bit more balanced, it would have sounded really clean. And to make up for that, it sounds like Sony has boosted the higher frequencies, so they sound very colored and not as much balanced. The good news is you can still customize the EQ and fine-tune things to your liking. One of the things I think Sony has nailed is the microphone quality. I mean, the clarity and loudness of the voice and the quietness of the background noise makes these a must-buy for those who are constantly making or receiving calls on the go. But in terms of mobility, I'm not so happy about battery of up to 30 hours because as a heavy user, I have to top up the charge on a daily basis pretty much, or else I might forget that they're about to drain when I need them the most. Luckily though, there is quick charging that for short commutes provides enough charge in just a few minutes. I guess I'm mostly complaining because there are great ANC headphones with 50 or 60 hours of battery life. These headphones have this amazing feature that let you talk to others without having to take them off or pause the music. There are actually two but highly related features: the speak to chat and the hold to talk feature. So when you hold the right ear cup with your hand, you can immediately hear others' voices clearly, which is really useful, especially when you're mainly listening to something or someone. But another option is to use the speak to chat feature, which means as soon as you start talking, the ambient mode turns on and you can hold a conversation for a while with someone, and you can change the length of that in the app as well. And perhaps even more crucial is the fact that you can enable or disable this feature directly on the headphones by tapping and holding the right ear cup with 2 fingers, as opposed to having to do it in some hidden menu on the app. Speaking of the app, actually the Sony Headphones app is one of the most feature-packed apps. Now, before I get into the details of it, so far I hope you've had the impression that I like these headphones and I do recommend them for a certain group of folks, which I've mentioned before. But to add to the list of great things about these headphones, one of my favorite things about them is the fact that Sony's been updating them regularly with new or improved features. For example, there was an update that will let you use LDAC during a multi-point connection, which is a codec for a higher quality listening experience. They've also added a quick access feature to multiple apps, services, and even a game. For example, I can start Spotify by just double tapping the noise cancelling button. Another good update was support for head tracking for the purpose of using spatial audio on YouTube, etc., if it's available. So the Headphones app from Sony allows you to choose from pre-configured EQ settings or create your own, and I guess most people don't ever bother changing the default stuff, even though that may not be the best listening experience for them based on their taste and genre of music or any other audio source they're listening to. So that's why there was an update that introduced the Find Your Equalizer feature. So what it does is that it creates a custom EQ for you, except you almost don't need to do it yourself. Instead, just listen to your music or whatever and choose the numbers you like the most during that setup. And as you can see clearly, I needed the bass to go down a notch. And by the way, I know I said these are a bit too bassy, but I'm also surprised at how much even more you can make that bass boomy with the EQ. This feature still is in beta, but if that's your vibe, give it a try. So I love listening to my favorite songs, perhaps a bit louder than usual, but I also care about preserving my hearing, and so should you. And instead of just guessing what level is safe, I can just take a look at the app and the current sound pressure. In fact, if you go to the activity tab and log into your account, in the safe listening page, you can monitor your historical listening habits. And if you go to this hidden activity settings in the menu, make sure the safe listening is enabled. And in fact, I went to the notification settings and chose careful to get notifications even if the loudness is somewhat below the WHO recommendation level. Another fantastic new feature, which is still in beta, is autoplay. And as the name suggests, the headphones will play music and deliver notifications automatically when you change your activity, which can be customized, by the way. Let me show you what I mean. So first you need to install the Sony Autoplay app. I know, another app, right? I don't like it either, but bear with me. And after you install the app, it'll ask you 3 questions, and then you can customize and add scenarios for when your headphones can start music playback, or start the focus and relaxation app, or when to pause notifications, and so on. You get the point. So as I said before, in terms of feature development, Sony's absolutely crushing it with their somewhat regular updates throughout the past. But if you belong to the group who doesn't like too much colored sound, but with not much compromise on the bass, check out this video next. I think you're gonna like it.